Hello and welcome to Walking with Artiki, the short podcast in which I teach you about God while I'm taking a walk. Today I want to talk about myself. Who am I? Why listen to me? I'm just some random guy claiming the knowledge of God. For all you know, I'm insane. But what will determine my sanity is whether I am right. So I offer this knowledge of God up to the world for judgment. I believe that God exists as a fundamental part of our reality. I believe that God exists as part of the system that forms our reality. I believe that God exists as part of the model that best describes our reality. I believe that this conclusion is ultimately undeniable, scientifically and philosophically. I believe that God is real. So what do I mean by God? And what do I mean by real? To invoke the River Jordan. By real, I mean the theory of everything, the general theory of energy, the answer to the question, what does it mean to move? My answer is titled the potential field theory, and I believe it is a mathematical model capable of describing the motion of all energy. And it was through understanding this model that God just appeared in the system. When you understand it, God becomes a necessary parameter in the model, a consequence of the existence of consciousness. Because ultimately I found the knowledge of God through the study of science. God just is, like gravity, like light, like the answer to 1 + 1. So I didn't arrive to the knowledge of God through religion. I'm not Jewish, Christian, or Muslim. I was never christened, much to my grandmother's disappointment. My mother decided that her children would be free to choose their beliefs, not be forced into one. I have never been baptized, but took communion once or twice as a child, once at a Catholic funeral, and once before a Sunday school I went to with religious friends because it was fun, filled with laughter and nice food. A wafer and grape juice is a bit of Sunday fun. Ooh, I'm going to make people sick with this thing. I didn't read the Bible until my 40s. I had already found the knowledge of God by then, and I wanted to know what others had to say about it. I found that the ideas were largely aligned with what I had found, depending on how you interpret it. So really I don't offer anything new, just old ideas told in a new language. So how did I get here? I am just a normal man approaching mid-40s. I've had successes, I've had failures, I've loved and lost, I've laughed and cried, I have bled and I have healed. I grew up in the dirt, working class poor, family violence, broken homes, poverty, confusion. But strangely, with the chaos that at times surrounded me, I never felt unloved. Even when I felt the most abandoned, I always knew that I was loved. But negative childhood experiences leave scars, heavy bags that a child must carry through life, heavy bags that the adult must learn to put down. Morning.
Morning.
Gotta make way for the people, Don't want to film them, etc. Just on their morning walks. They need to be harangued into these sorts of things. So I've spent most of my life trying to understand myself. Who am I? How do I work? How do I think? I've studied meditation and the mind since I was a teenager. I've always been fascinated by the question of consciousness. But my fascination didn't end there. My first love was science, the pursuit of knowledge through logic and reason, the great leap into the unknown and the hope of finding truth, the capacity to understand the natural world, the capacity to know how something works. I find science to be fascinating. And I always wanted to walk in the footsteps of Einstein, Newton, Faraday, and Feynman. I wanted to stand beside them and see what they could see, to understand how they arrived at their deep insights about the world. And I knew that one day someone would come along and stand on their shoulders. I never suspected that I would try to do so. But here we are. I spent 15 years studying the works of these giants, and during that time I also became an architect. Not due in any aspect not due to any aspect of my scientific journey. At the time, the science stuff was just a side project I dabbled with when I was bored or procrastinating. I went to architecture school because I loved architecture. I wanted to know what it felt like to imagine a building and then see it built. I wanted to walk through my ideas in the real world. I achieved these things and found them to be wonderful, but very difficult. But it was my architectural education that ultimately allowed me to solve the problem of unification. Architecture trained my imagination, honed it into this tool that I can use to study the motions of anything. A tool that allowed me to explore the problems of physics in the laboratory of my mind. And with this tool, I have been fortunate enough to see through the eyes of giants, to see the beauty of knowledge. Morning. Come on, you thing. I feel like I'm going to make people sick with this. I'm trying a different technique and it's a bit more wobbly. I'm paying attention to too many things at once and my little brain is overloading. The first time I truly understood the genius of Einstein, I cried. The first time I truly understood the genius of Faraday, Maxwell, Feynman, I cried. The first time I saw a way to unify the motion of the large and the small, I cried. The first time I saw the potential field theory emerge from this unity, I cried. The first time I saw the field's unification with consciousness, I cried. The first time I saw God, well, I broke down, fell to my knees, stared into the light and cried, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." This may sound insane, but it is the simple truth. Since then, I've been trying to understand what it all means. Is it true, or is it just a delusion? Is my science sound, Or is it full of holes I never saw? Since then, I've been trying to understand how to explain it to others. How to have these deeper discussions without being seen as a madman. This podcast is my latest attempt at sharing the knowledge of God with all who are willing to listen. I hope one day people find them useful. So please, like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, ask questions. I'm not here to tell you what to think or believe. I'm here to teach you what I found and how I found it. Remember, I am not special. I am merely first. I am not here to start a new cult or religion. I am here to share the beauty that I found in the knowledge of God. A beauty available to all human beings if they are willing to do the work required to understand. It is not easy, but it can be done. And the reward of this knowledge is worth every step. Thank you very much for listening. Peace be upon us all. God has willed it. But first, we must learn to follow God's will.